Started.
Wow, this feels very official.
All right, well, more official, we'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. Right on time.
Just to clarify, Rick, in the past, I think what I did was I typed it into the agenda, I think, and then
That's fine.
when I'm telling
Thanks for volunteering, it sounds like.
you. Okay, here's your agenda. Got it.
All right, which brings us to our first item, review of February minutes, which is on here as a matter of course, and don't remember Carson or Jim or anyone.
I did,
actually
yeah,
did.
I shared it, oh, wait, 3/24.
Here,
Violence and owner's trash.
well, Carson, there is, oh yeah,
Sorry.
you have to find, in my email conversation, I updated the agenda about 3 or 4 times after the initial
Yeah,
email.
yeah, that's fine, no worries.
But I see Carson's email minutes on February 17th.
Right.
We would all take a quick moment or two.
Carson, I can't get in unless I have permission. Is
Okay.
everyone else doing that?
I couldn't get in before, but then I found it on the website.
Oh, okay. That would work.
It's on the calendar.
Are you guys talking about the agenda?
Oh, that's the agenda. I'm
The
sorry, the
minutes.
minutes from,
Oh.
yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Fine.
I'm able to open them and sharing settings say shared with Carson and 6 more.
Yeah, but we might not be, no, I don't know, it's just not letting me open it.
Okay, I see a share request. Oh, it's your Haverford email, that's why. I sent it
Oh,
to your,
fine.
Shade Tree email. That's all right. I just gave you access with your request.
That's fine.
Interesting, I did both hearings.
So I have double access. There's no.
Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm gonna go back to, some meeting. Mm. Any questions or, okay, we'll ask if there's some, she should.
I can make a motion.
I motion that we approve the February minutes.
Second.
Valid things.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. 4-0. Thanks, Carson.
Okay.
All right, back to the agenda for tonight. Next is public comment, other than agenda items. I see no public unless anyone wants to say anything. Okay. No public comment. Okay. All right, next we are into the meat of the agenda, subdivision and land development, 230 Haverford Avenue. Just before we dive into this, I did talk to Matt West, our borough manager, last week. Told him that we're happy to have the developer here if they wish, but I also told him, I don't know if it's worth the developer spending, I don't know, $500 or $600 of consultant time to come and just be told what we're gonna put into a memo tomorrow anyway. It's, in terms of landscaping, it's a fairly simple plan. And, we'll make our recommendations, they'll go to council, and ultimately it comes down to council and the developer. I shouldn't phrase it as fighting it out, I don't think this is a fighting it out application, but you know what I mean,
Discussing coming to agreement.
better. All right, has everybody, well, it doesn't matter if you have or not, had a chance to look over plans, look over consultant letters? Does anybody have specifics you want to discuss or have questions about, or?
Are we addressing, we're addressing the back lot too, right? Because there's 12 cherry trees that are supposed to come down.
Yes, we are addressing everything tree landscape related, whether that means sidewalks and how the trees affect the sidewalks, or parking and how the trees affect parking. And honestly, I think throw everything at it, and we'll see what goes in our letter and what you text Jim Spear about on the side.
Okay, so the note is though, we have concern about the 12 cherry trees that are,
Well,
what should I write in the? Just asking about.
Confirming the cherry tree or back lot being included.
Okay. And it's 12 of them, is it?
Yeah, there's 12 trees, 11 of them are cherry that I saw on the plan, one of them wasn't.
Okay. I think I missed it, the stormwater. Was that somewhere in the plan? I didn't see it.
what is your question?
So what?
What are they doing for stormwater?
Yes.
Green
Did you
roof.
see something?
They're doing a green roof.
But
On
what
the bigger
about the
property.
sidewalk that goes in front of the properties and the main street along there, and then in the back where it kind of slopes into the buildings?
They're gonna have to manage that somehow or another. I didn't look closely
Okay,
at how they're managing stormwater. I would bet, since they don't have room for a basin, they're probably doing some underground storage.
oh, okay,
I'm scrolling through the plans again to look for that.
okay. The reason I raised that is that obviously having trees with deep roots goes a long way to managing stormwater. It's a good thing when you don't want too much stormwater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trees help manage stormwater.
And it's a reason to plant larger trees. Well, first, of course.
What's the question that we're,
My concern was, and I hadn't counted how many trees in the back of the, but when you remove trees and you have a slope. you know,
yeah, but it's like, are you,
I just wanted to make a note in our concerns that, I don't know how to say this, sorry, I'm trying to think of a way to say it coherently, but, it's an important part of stormwater management. And I just want to be sure they understand that trees play an important role in that. And it's better, I am looking at these plans, I couldn't figure out what the what they were building into the site itself, that would actually have. I mean, I walk past there when it's raining. There's a lot of water, yeah, going down. But maybe we should just consider it as a note in our memo or
Well,
or not.
I mean, stormwater is going to be something that if there's any issues would be addressed in the engineer's review letter.
Okay,
So they're gonna have to meet, obviously, they're gonna have to meet all of the borough stormwater requirements, and federal requirements, state
Okay.
requirements as well. So I don't think we have to worry too much about how they're doing it or what they're
Okay.
doing.
okay. And I don't know whether they were taking into account that they're removing trees in the back. That if they had done any testing on the site, with the trees, it's gonna be different without trees.
Yeah, they're gonna have to, basically what they're going to have to do is forget about what's there now. They're gonna have to provide stormwater management for what they propose. And it's gonna be a series of calculations based on pervious and impervious coverage.
Okay, and
So-
it doesn't look at vegetation that it's adjacent to that, so, okay.
It
we
look-
get it.
It's gonna look at what's proposed and where stormwater flows.
Okay, got it.
But Sally, the trees to be removed in the back that you're talking about,
Mhm.
are they in the parking?
They're in the, they are, I
In
can
the
tell you what,
parking islands?
yeah, I don't know, hold on.
Scrolling through the plans, and I didn't catch trees to be removed in the back.
Well, I'm assuming TBR means to be removed and there's a big
Usually.
X through them, so I was assuming that's.
Okay, now I see them on, sheet number
Hello.
4.
Hello.
Sheet number 4, the demolition plan.
And Carson, as far as, there, someone mentioned to me, literally as I was walking down here, that they saw a very cool new process where the tree pits are also a retention basin. So it would deal with both of those issues, and apparently it's expensive, but
Is it beneath the soil?
I literally just found out about it as I was walking up, so I haven't had a chance to look into it, but it does exist.
Okay,
So-
makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Although I guess you'd have to have a tree where the roots. Unless you put the retention basin to the right side of it.
I don't know, I'm gonna get more information about it,
Oh,
but
that's interesting.
yeah.
All right, so we have the review letter from Panoni, from the landscape architect. So in
Yeah.
terms of trees to be removed and making sure that they're being replaced per our ordinances, I'm going to have to defer and assume that our borough landscape architect has accounted for that.
Is that something we should just ask or?
Well, generally, the way a consultant prepares a review letter is if the plans meet the requirements, there's no comment in the letter.
I see, okay,
So if we want to double check on that,
right,
it doesn't hurt to send Matt an email and
Okay.
just say, hey, can you ask the borough landscape architect, just to double check and let us know.
I can't
Right.
imagine it missed, it, but.
I mean, there's not very many trees on site to begin with.
okay, Okay, so our note is gonna be about, has landscape architect accounted for for existing trees being removed?
Yeah. And so somewhere on these plans, there should be calculations that I do not want us getting involved in
Yes,
at
exactly,
all.
correct.
But somewhere there should be calculations about trees being removed and trees replacing.
Okay,
We can, I don't have in front of us anything, unless they're on the front sheet of the plan, anything about what waivers they might request.
oh, right,
So we could include a general recommendation to council not to grant any waivers regarding street tree requirements or tree replacement requirements.
regarding street tree requirements.
I'm actually gonna type some of this out as well, because I'm gonna have to send a memo probably tomorrow. And this will help us make a motion and vote on our recommendations. So the first recommendation I've typed out is recommend council deny any waiver requests regarding quantity of street trees and or replacement trees. Sound good?
According to established, or something, don't you have to reiterate that? No, okay, that's fine, okay,
Yeah.
that's all right.
All right. I think we want to recommend removal of the existing street trees and
Yeah.
replacement.
And I'd also like to put in there that I think we should consider not doing a monoculture.
I
Yes.
agree.
I agree.
I couldn't see anywhere. Do they have any species recommendations in their plans? Plans or?
I didn't see any, that's,
I
I
didn't see anything.
Okay,
think that's the next,
so
that's
we
the
can do
next.
that?
They have species recommend, or they have a list, they have a plant list.
They do?
They do, it's not very extensive. It is on, the landscape detail sheet, page 15 out of 17. The borough landscape architect includes comments, basically saying that everything should be replaced with native species per our recommended plant list. Jumping the agenda now, Matt also told me the plant list is going to council at the next meeting.
I'm number 3, under council.
So yeah, their plant list, their tree species include only honey locust and American elms, shrubs, fragrant sumac, which is a good native, but then a bunch of perennials and ground covers, including liriope, which is not native, yarrow, which is Russian sage, of course is not, and feather reed grass, which is not. So the borough landscape architect already recommends native plants. If we want to reiterate that, I'm fine with including that too.
Should we note that the list that's included in the plan just is not all native plants.
Well, what are we calling native? Can you have varieties?
Oh,
Like, because,
cultivars?
yeah, because, I mean, with the climate going the way it is, we can't use all of our native stuff because it'll die, and we're looking to stuff that's like more heat resistant. So if we're looking into like cultivars or different varieties of stuff, it might not be what we're considered, what are we considering native?
Well, two things. One, I think maybe instead of native species, we should double down on what the landscape architect's letter says and refer to the plant list, which is all native and has a wide variety.
Yeah. it's better.
Item number, or, yeah, the next part of it is that I asked Matt, I was particularly curious about the little courtyard that they're proposing, like, how is this all gonna be maintained going forward? And he said that, they're gonna do a lot consolidation. Hello, Shade Tree Commission.
Lower Marion Township Democratic Committee.
It must be across the
Across
hall.
the hall, in the big room, yep. I hope they need a bigger room.
That was my first boss,
Really?
David Boyda, yeah, when I was 12 years old, that was right there.
Where did you work?
Camp Viking, he was, he was King Prussia Park and Rec manager, the Park and Rec guy. Like he's amazing, I can't believe that, I haven't seen him in a long time. And he-
Oh, you've never crossed paths with him in Arbor?
No, not in
Okay.
20 years, yeah, it's not in Arbor, that's really.
Surprised he didn't say,
Yeah. Do you recognize?
number one thing.
I asked Matt who would be maintaining everything, and I asked specifically about, what if one building is sold or another building is sold? And he said they're doing a lot consolidation, and so one management company will maintain everything going forward.
Yeah.
So when it comes to perennials in the parking lot or in the patio, when climate change, kills everything, there will still be a management company here that should still maintain and switch out species. You would hope.
And use the list that's been, the list of plants, recommended plants tonight.
After a certain period of time, they're not really, held to that anymore.
I see, okay.
Okay, so our second recommendation is recommend all plant species selected from the Narberth plant list.
Okay,
Sound good?
yeah. And then the third will be this, replacing the trees on Haverford Avenue, so that'll be our third one.
Yeah, and I want to include a little more background there. In general, yes, remove the existing street trees because Jim might be able to carry this forward a bit, but I think this is possibly going to shock some members of council, and the Shade Tree Commission says cut down the trees. So I want to make it really clear why. One, they are stunted.
They're stunted, the pruning has been off for a while, they're dropping limbs.
Yeah.
They're not healthy.
They're not healthy. I know they're not that old, but it seems like they've just reached their, whatever is gonna be their prime, just because they're in those small, like, little pits, they're not gonna.
Yeah, maybe we should refer to the fact that the original pits were.
Well, that's why we need a tree trench going down Haverford Road, or Haverford Avenue.
I love that.
Oh.
One more,
It looks just like a row of trees, this is what I was just reading, it looks like a row of trees, but underneath, hadn't really looked into it, Storm, Philadelphia does it to downtown, so.
yeah, you probably walked past it,
Yeah, you don't know.
not even know it. One more point about it. When they built up the Rickland site, they pruned those trees back
Yes.
and built up. These hang over the buildings much farther. I
Right.
don't think they can reasonably prune them and
Yeah, I
still
think we should
build.
mention that.
So then due to construction, anticipated construction, the tree will need to be damage to that. I
There
think
you go, that's true, that's a good way to put it,
we're anticipating the tree's gonna be damaged, and technology has improved for structural soils, we can have a better,
foundation, or maybe we shouldn't use the
Yeah.
foundation, yeah.
we have the opportunity to get a really nice.
All right, I want to include removing them as one point.
Okay,
To be immediately replaced, it should be like, we don't want I mean, it's obvious to us, but if Borough Council's gonna be confused or be like shocked by it, they're definitely gonna wanna see like, what's the,
Number
Well,
4,
and we can say the caliper, you know, because that will indicate that they're over, it's not like a tiny little seedling.
well,
I think you said that last time.
we talked about 2-inch caliper.
2-inch caliper, yeah.
Is 4 inch too big, is?
Yeah, that's a big tree and we like.
Too much to maintain or too much to put?
No, it's not too much to maintain. It's, you know, you do get into the fact that the bigger root ball you get, the harder it is to manage as far as putting it in. You also, it's more expensive. They might bulk if we're asking them, because you're gonna have to use machinery. That's not like.
With
yeah.
okay, so it's that much larger,
Mhm.
okay,
All right, so our next recommendation will be,
because that's what they're showing in their plans, right?
4 inch. That might be for the back. I mean, if they're only planning on planting a couple, I don't know how deep their pockets are, like, you know.
And
Plenty.
yeah.
no,
Sure, he feels like he doesn't have deep pockets, that poor guy.
But I mean, I'm sure the plans show more mature trees, the renderings show more mature.
Oh,
trees.
yeah.
oh yeah, the rendering certainly. Always would.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do that too. But let's, instead of sitting here speculating, let's
Yeah,
just
do,
go to sheet number 15. They're actually specking 2 to 2.5 inch caliber.
Okay.
Perfect.
okay,
So our next item will be recommend providing replacement street trees. I think we have to stick with part of the ordinance requirements. I don't think we can tell them to cut
Okay.
those trees down and then expect them to replace them on a caliper basis.
Oh, I see, we can't, so you're saying provide, not plant.
No, no,
So-
plant.
Oh, okay,
plant.
okay, okay.
But I mean, the trees are, we'll just say they're 15-inch caliber.
Oh, the length of
Typically,
the,
yeah, if you remove a 15-inch caliber tree,
Oh, I
the
see what you're
ordinance
saying.
requires more replacement.
got it.
I don't think we can ask them to do that if we're telling them to remove these trees.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
So I'm gonna write down, provide new street trees per the ordinance requirements.
Yeah,
yeah. And
Still
keep
think
it
we
with
need
the
to
ones
say
they're gonna be
plant.
doing.
you don't wanna say provide and plant.
Provide or plant, either way.
but just
Install.
because
I mean, they're
Install
going.
maybe would be a bit. I'm just concerned about the whole, oh, well, the Shade Tree Commission's gonna plant them, we didn't provide them. See Jim digging those holes.
Okay, next, do we want to recommend species, or do we want to just recommend a mix of species per the plant list? In this case, I mean, well,
Well, last time we said they had to be nutless, fruitless, I think that was. just
Thornless,
request, right?
fruitless, yeah. I mean, I was looking, I mean, I think we should give, how many trees are on the list that we have?
on the plant list,
Yeah, is there?
there are a lot.
That's a lot of trees.
Don't you feel, I mean, I feel like the more leeway we give the landscape architect to sort of choose from, the better, just because they have knowledge that, who knows, that we don't know.
I know the guy, he's a good landscape architect.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so, yeah, then that means that he's gonna do his due diligence and pick what he thinks is hopefully a good one, but I mean, I would say like maybe we pick like 5 or like 7 or something. I just feel like the more we narrow it down, the
I
less they're
agree.
going to, or the more they're gonna fall.
Yeah, I also, as a young consultant, I remember my boss telling me, it's not your job to tell them, it's not your job to do their job. It's your job to tell them like what's wrong and what they need to do better or differently. In this case, I mean, I use the phrase with Matt many times, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for
Really is.
Norberg.
Mhm.
So we do have to walk the line of telling them what we want without, I think we're good if we say per the plant list, seedless, nutless, other considerations for
Street trees, I mean,
downtown street trees.
salt, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick, and I have to believe our interests are the same, and like a landscape architect would, especially one who works for a developer, be like, okay, a developer who's gonna have to maintain the property, okay, I'm not gonna put a.
They don't think as much as you want them to.
Yeah,
Like-
No. I just think, I mean, I like the idea of giving them a parameter. I just want to give them more than
Like
just 3 trees to
10.
choose from, you know, like whatever we have.
Well, is there any, how about, are there any on that list that you don't like, and cross those off, and then,
yeah.
unless maybe you're. And I leave that to you and Rick and person. Cause I love trees, yeah.
No, I do too. Well, Rick, what do you think about saying these could include species to consider include? Or
The other- There's one other frequent step that happens in these processes, that if it comes planting time and, you know, the plan says they're gonna plant, we'll say an elm and oak, they're not gonna plant an oak.
Right.
Elm, oak, maple, and for some reason there's no maples available, then they should go back to the borough landscape architect and say, I need to make a substitution. And then the borough landscape architect approves or denies that substitution. So we can try to pin them down as much as we want on the plan, but if come time to order the trees, it's not feasible, they'll
Okay.
change it anyway.
Okay,
And we'll be somewhat out of the picture.
yeah, okay, got it, that's fine.
So I just scribbled something out, see if this works or if you wanna go farther, and I'm fine either way. Recommend a mix of native species from the plant list, I should say native street tree species.
Yeah, perfect.
Street tree species from the plant list to be fruitless, nutless, and appropriate for downtown or urban conditions.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, good. Now, there are currently 5 trees out there. So assume that they're gonna replant 5 or maybe 6. I don't know exactly I don't remember exactly what the
That's what
ordinance
it looks
says.
like they have in the rendering is 5 again.
Oh, is it?
Well,
Okay.
that's, remember, the
But again,
rendering
that's-
is showing what's there, because they're currently
No, the
proposing
new
to
one.
keep.
The proposed, I'm sorry. I was looking at the proposed with the new, walkthrough, the widened walkthrough. It looked like I went down, there's
That's-
the 4-page presentation.
That's because right now they're proposing to keep the trees that are there,
Oh, gotcha.
So the
Okay, so those
ordinance-
are our same trees that they just, I gotcha.
that they made look nicer.
Yeah, they really did. That's why I didn't recognize them.
Yeah, so, let me just look real quick.
But, so what these we're looking at, these look like 1, 2, 3, 4.
5, isn't it? 5?
I can't tell if this one, now I'm looking at
All right, so if you have the plans up in front of you and you go to sheet number 15 again, and you see where the plant list is and go beneath the plant list, it shows you, it says code language, 500-704 street trees.
Mhm.
Then below that, it breaks out the requirements. The minimum of 1 street tree for each 30 linear feet of all frontages or fraction thereof shall be planted in a tree pit. So Haverford Avenue, they have 248 linear feet. And on Narberth Avenue, they have 82 linear feet. Now, I disagree with their math here, it's standard to round up. So where they have, well, actually, they add them up and they do round up. They're required to plant a total of 11 street trees based on those frontages.
Not including what we're recommending that,
No, including,
including, okay.
yeah. So again, like, kind of forget what's there now, and we
Right.
go by what the ordinance requires. So, forget that there are 5 trees out there. If they were building this from scratch, they'd be required to plant 11 street trees.
Okay,
Now, the Narberth frontage the Narberth Avenue frontage really doesn't have space for
it
trees.
doesn't,
There's a little asterisk on the plan that one other section of the ordinance permits street trees to be placed elsewhere on the property. So they can stick more trees in the back. Which if we stick with our first recommendation of don't waive any of these requirements, that's what they would need to do.
okay,
Out front, if 5 trees on Haverford Avenue is not enough, we could suggest they plant trees more densely, every 20 feet or so. And then along a 248 linear foot frontage, then you're squeezing, you might squeeze all of these trees in there. That might be too much, but we can suggest to them if they provide them at a lesser spacing.
so is that a recommendation? That's a recommendation that needs to happen now, or is that something we want to recommend they continue to consider?
This is our chance. Yeah, the process is not going to be completely done, because frequently you go to council with a final plan, and the developer rarely, at least in my experience, maybe it's different here, but in my experience, it's rare that a developer gets to the final step, the board or the council, and gets it done in one shot.
Right,
There's usually still a lot of things, little things to figure out, so they frequently come back. But this is a big one, so
Yeah.
we should,
okay,
it's unfortunate that we didn't get comment on this 6 months ago,
right,
but this is our chance.
yeah, okay, yeah, oh, now I'm seeing those trees that I was talking about, sorry.
So I'm gonna scratch out a number 6,
Okay,
I wanna say something like provide the maximum reasonable number of street trees along Haverford Avenue.
okay,
Because we know we want more than 5,
yes,
but I don't know in great detail, and it's not our job to figure out how the trees are gonna fit between their utilities and,
that's what I was thinking.
all that stuff. They have to figure that out. So provide the maximum reasonable quantity of street trees.
Well,
And we don't wanna say a minimum number.
the other thing is that if they're saying, was that a question whether they can plant elsewhere if it doesn't fit? Because if there's excess for trees in the frontage on one side, since we want to plant all for the others too, we can use those to sub in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what Rick was saying,
Oh,
put them in the back or something.
No, well, yeah, no, put them in the back. I'm talking about the other side of Haverford Avenue. Because we're talking about getting rid of all the trees.
Well, but for this purpose, they're only gonna be getting rid of the 5 that.
Well, didn't we talk about doing trying to
Yeah,
do something
in the
big?
future. Yeah,
It's, I think we've got a couple different things happening. Yes, we have talked about trying to replace everything downtown. I don't know if legally we can ask this developer to do that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure. I was just checking.
Now, I've been a consultant to shade tree commissions in the past that ran into this situation all the time. And this was 20 years ago, but they had a provision where the developers could basically pay a fee in lieu of providing trees.
Right, remember
And
that.
that fee in lieu funded lots of great shade tree commission projects. That was in a community though that had hundreds of acres of parks, like they had places to plant trees all over the place.
Yeah,
We live in a place that council already underwrites our tree planting.
right.
So I don't love the idea of telling the developer they could write a check rather than plant trees. I'd rather than just plant more trees in the back somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
or,
Well, I think you guys agree. I mean, I just don't know, Sally, I always love that idea. I just don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know that we can ask, I mean, I was thinking before, that's what we were asking for big, but I wasn't sure if we could do it or not. But now would be, you know,
Who's, I mean, that's borough property, right? So it's not like we have any additional approval process, that's,
The sidewalk.
yeah.
Yeah, it was more the cost. I mean, our original
I mean-
pipe dream was to get whoever was developing this thing to, you know,
right,
bear the cost of the whole thing. But if, again, like Rick said, if we'd been involved in the conversation 6 months ago, we could have at least raised the idea. But now it's really past.
yeah, one side of the street's good. Okay, first as a start.
But that is, I mean, if it is just being devil's advocate here, if it is, you know, they're bringing out the landscaper, we want them to be symmetrical and we want the same types of pits. Like, could we put that in our budget and say, hey, just, I mean, cost of labor must be much cheaper if we already have the guys down there digging the pits and everything.
Oh,
I think that would put us in a big conflict. of
Okay,
interest.
okay.
I like the creative costs.
I like it
too.
Just bundle us in with your landscaping costs. Okay.
Next, I'm gonna write plant remaining required street trees elsewhere on site,
yeah.
and there's really only one place to plant them.
Yeah, I mean, just off the top of my head, I also think it's also if you build it, they will come scenario that maybe if we have one side done, it'll be a motivation. It looks so good that maybe we can spur the interest to get the other side done. I mean, to do it all at once is a pretty abrupt situation, but
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
need some shade this summer,
And we
or
could that go in with,
next summer.
you're on Parks and Rec,
Mhm.
maybe in keeping, you know, with the circle redesign, whatever goes on there, we could kind of mimic. You know, I'm sure you're gonna be planting trees in the circle.
I would assume,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I believe there's new tree pits down front of the building that's going up on Forest and Haverford.
Oh, yeah,
So I think if folks see, you know, that run of Haverford on the south side of Haverford, you know, it's planted nicely and there's two other ones across the street. Yeah, I think that'll certainly ignite the
Right.
conversation to brighten up downtown. And, you know, we budget, you know, while shade trees budgets 15,000. Or downtown streetscape maintenance, you know, which, you know, have my two rotations of flowers and the equipment rental is $8,000. So I think we can certainly do, you know, a tree or two each year, you know, we'll just pick, you know, key corners and kind of push our way in, you know, things like that, so.
yeah, that'd be smart. I mean, then it's not as jarring and it gets done as long as it's sort of aggressive.
All right, good. I'm also looking at this plan again, the back side of the development towards Station Circle. There are a couple existing tree pits. The site line, the property line actually jogs along the driveway in the back. And there are a couple of existing tree pits in the sidewalk over there. And there might be a possibility to put in another one back there too. If they're just looking for places.
Bruce, which slide are you on?
Yeah, I'm looking at the side too, my things.
Sheet 14 now.
Oh, 14.
My thing's really slow to open these.
Yeah, I can't even get to it.
Are you talking about like where the hot yoga and philosophy
Where
is?
towards Station Circle,
Yeah.
There we go. Which page you said it's?
Oh,
I just going so slow.
they're big plans.
1, 2, 3.
So you see the
Oh,
line that
this,
goes
he's
around,
talking about that.
This is,
Is this
the
what he's talking about?
line, the line, yeah,
Yeah, right there.
no,
Oh,
left, left. The dash line,
oh, I see.
dashes,
Oh, I see.
is the property.
Got it, I
So
see.
this developer
Oh, it does
owns
go
the
that
back
far.
private.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does go that far. Okay, now I see what you're talking about.
So you see they're very faint.
Yes,
But you see those two pits.
yeah.
So, you know, it's not the greatest location, but they could do another tree pit back there somewhere potentially.
Okay, that's great.
Again, we don't have to figure that out for them, but
Right.
there's opportunities.
this is all gonna be redesigned. Are they crossing this? Yeah, they're crossing all this out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's
Maybe
gonna be a
parking.
nasty place to sit if they don't have trees.
Well, that's all part.
All right. So the last thing I wrote was plant remaining required street trees elsewhere on site.
Yes.
Okay. We also have recommended in the
Now I'm on
past,
sheet, now I'm on the, God, sorry.
we have recommended in the past at other sites, and I have to trust our borough engineer that it actually got installed, I don't really know. We've recommended using structural soil.
Oh, right.
I don't know that we can be that specific, but we can recommend the use of structural soil or other,
Best practices.
other best practices to ensure
Longevity. I don't know.
longevity of the sidewalks, long-term, to ensure longevity of the sidewalks. And it's more expensive, but again, if this is gonna stay under one ownership and somebody is gonna
Right.
manage, I don't know, Jeff, generally, is the sidewalk in front of the businesses treated the same way as sidewalks in front of our houses? Do the businesses have to maintain the sidewalks? Okay. So it's basically going to be a long-term owner, where they're gonna flip it to one long-term owner. Hopefully they'll see the value and. do
Yeah, it's in their
that.
best interest.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
okay. I'm gonna say recommend use of structural soil or other best management practices to ensure longevity sidewalks,
and tree health.
harmonious coexistence of trees and sidewalks.
There's something like pedestrian safety.
Excellent pedestrian safety. And decreased long-term maintenance.
Okay. The heat, I was thinking, but I guess we can't really get into that now, it's too detailed.
Into what?
It will sure make a difference to have good trees along the road though, in terms of, like, planting them well means you're gonna have more shade, it's gonna be less hot on sidewalks, but that's too.
I'm surprised by how the minutia in the planting and construction that they have
Oh, yeah.
here. I'm like, don't you know that? Like, why aren't you?
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
All right. The only other thing I remember thinking of was recommending some landscaping in the patio area.
Yeah.
And I don't even have like specifics,
I
but
know.
did anybody have any other thoughts about any of that?
Again, I'm just concerned if they think they're gonna have like tables there and people sitting there, it's gonna be really hot. They don't have.
They show it with umbrellas and
umbrellas,
stuff.
right.
I mean, I can't imagine that they would let us plant trees back there because I think the space is gonna be so valuable anyway,
Oh,
right? Like even as they show it, I don't have it up, like I don't know how even all the tables and chairs that they're showing there.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's gonna be
Yeah.
in design, like on the fly kind of.
Well, we could write this one less of a recommendation and more of, sort of consideration. We could write in just
there you go.
consider the addition of landscaping within the patio area.
Yeah.
And maybe it starts a conversation between them and council.
Okay.
And if they feel like they need one thing to turn down and they do the other 8 things we're asking.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
I like that.
Or the other day I had. Here they are. If you're at the borough information
Oh.
page.
Yeah, I think I had that open before.
There's one set of renderings called Harb
Yeah.
renderings.
I did.
If you click on the development, get to the page dedicated to 230 Haverford and scroll down to the list and click on Harb
Yeah,
renderings.
I got it.
I'm sorry, is that in
I can't
projects, Rick, or is that
If you
plans?
go in projects,
reports?
you can also find it.
It's in. It's
I
in-
can't get, I'm finding it virtually impossible to get in there.
It's in information.
Yep,
Scroll down to subdivision and land development.
okay. Yeah, right.
It's just too slow for you, Sally.
Yeah, I can't, it's not doing anything for me.
Do you wanna look at my screen?
It's all right, I got it.
For number 9, I'm gonna,
Are you on their Wi-Fi, Sally?
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, because I shared it with you. That's how you got on your Wi-Fi. It asked me,
Oh,
do you?
no, is that why I have Wi-Fi now? I thought it was because I put in the password.
No, it's because I
Oh,
shared it with you.
Then don't share with me anymore, because I think,
Oh, is
Just
that,
put it in the wrong
I don't
password.
know how to turn that off. That's up to you.
oh, okay.
consider addition of landscaping
Mine's great.
in patio.
Yes, that's good.
That's us.
Simple. What are we forgetting?
Size, variety, quantity. Planting techniques.
Sorry.
Trenches.
Trenches.
Pits. The renderings the ordinance requires a minimum 3x4 tree pit. So if we don't say anything, that's what they're gonna do.
Okay.
Do we, Sally mostly, have thoughts about what we want to recommend for tree pit size? Or do we want to challenge them to do something better and nicer and see what they come back with?
I lean towards the second, just because I mean, it's gonna be hard. I mean, I'd be interested to see what their suggestions are, because the lack of space up there, I mean, I don't think they're not enlarging the width of the sidewalk at all, right?
I don't think so.
So it'll be hard to make a tree pit too much bigger, else you're not gonna, strollers, whatever, trying to get around. I think I'd be interested to see what they come up with. I mean, because we can always push back, but
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking about how Ardmore managed to do it.
Mhm.
Ardmore has very generous tree pits. I don't know why that's such a.
Do they have
big
wider
reach.
I
sidewalks?
think they have wider sidewalks.
But our most tree pits are also longer,
Yeah.
so even
Because they don't
going
need
the other
parking
direction.
on Montgomery, on
Lancaster.
Lancaster. That's what we're
Yeah,
limited by.
well, the parallel parking space is supposed to be 22 feet long. So out of that 22 feet, maybe it's 6 or 8 feet. That might even be big, from the front of a front door to the back of a back door typically. So I mean, if they really think it out, they can do better than 3 by 4.
Correct.
Yeah, I would say put in a recommendation of maybe, I mean, not the recommend, I mean, we can recommend whatever we want, but if we wanna just say, what was the word you used before? Recommend, use.
Consider.
Yes, consider. I mean, consider larger ones, at least 4 by 4. That's what we use over at the campus, usually a 4-inch diameter or 4-foot diameter.
Okay. I'm saying, and doesn't mean it's decided, consider implementation of larger
Yeah,
tree pits along Haverford Avenue. Potentially incorporating stormwater management, best management practices. That sound okay?
I don't know if we wanna mention stormwater, only because when I was saying it before, you said something very valuable, which is that's kind of a different person's job in this. You know what I mean? And the reason I'm talking about larger tree pits is I want the trees to have a better chance of surviving, not the stormwater. Even though it would aid in stormwater management. I was thinking of more in terms of like what we were saying before, the potential longevity of the tree, because it was planted in a bigger space, but I think it's fine. Just leave it like that, Rick. It's a lot of, yeah. We're not gonna be scouring this with fine tooth comb.
Yeah, I'm all for it, it's like Eric's, Eric, our engineer's job is to, assess the entire site for stormwater control. So
Yeah.
anything extra that the, person building it can add, whether we do 8-foot wide,
Yeah,
pits, different do cuts, to get water in would just be an added plus for, the architects working on it.
right,
Plus it would kind of catch us up to where every other town seems to do it.
right. Exactly, including the town that's right there.
All right. I'll ask again, are we forgetting anything?
Okay, well, do we no longer have a concern about them actually, we've had these problems in the past where people agree with exchange information that they're gonna do this, this, and this, and then don't do it. And there's we have no teeth. I don't know what we can say, or if this is the right place to say it. There be a review of the health of the trees at X period of time after the planting.
So I do hope, that the fact that we now have a borough landscape architect will lead to the end of that problem.
Okay.
Because we're governed by state law that we basically can do an 18-month
Right.
maintenance period. So generally, the borough, again, in my experience, you get 2 shots at inspecting landscaping. When the developer wants their first big chunk of escrow back and they want to start their maintenance period. And then at the end of 18 months, you inspect again, and if anything's not there to plan, they have to replace it. So I know the home you're thinking of near where we live.
Yeah,
And I don't know what happened there. Engineers maybe didn't care about it as a former consultant at this point.
yeah,
So I do hope that is remedied. this is certainly gonna be a higher profile project.
Okay.
What I hope and would expect would happen is that if council agrees with our recommendations, they will, when they get there, they'll approve the plan with with the condition that they make amendments to incorporate our recommendations.
Okay,
Applicant revises the plans, hands them back. The borough landscape architect reviews the plans again and reviews council resolution, which should include all of our stuff.
okay,
That's if council agrees with everything and the applicant agrees to do it as well.
okay.
And I think we'll just have to check back in with our council liaison or our borough manager, see how it goes.
Okay. And, one thing that I noticed when I was looking at this plan that I finally got to come up was that there is a very specific note on the, trees in the front that says that there'll be existing trees unless they're damaged during construction. So I don't know whether we want to refer to that in that earlier part where you were, sorry.
I don't think we need to.
Okay.
I mean, we're pretty clear with our recommendation.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, we want it to be as simple as possible, so the council members can read it and
Yeah.
get it and, you know, not feel like it's Federalist Papers or something. Okay, cool.
All right, we have 10 recommendations. We can add more if there are more. If we're done, we're done. Other thoughts? All right. I am going to make a motion that we recommend to council the following 10 items in summary. That they don't grant any waivers regarding quantity of street trees or replacement trees.
All right,
Number two, all plant species be selected from the Narberth Borough plant list. Number three, remove the existing street trees along Haverford Avenue due to the fact that they are stunted, dying, and poor health past their prime and will hinder construction activities and are currently prone to pests and diseases as they are monoculture. Number four, plant new street trees per the ordinance requirements. Number five, recommend a mix of native street tree species from the plant list to be fruitless, nutless, seedless, and appropriate for urban conditions.
perfect.
Number six, provide the maximum reasonable quantity of street trees along Haverford Avenue.
Do you wanna list that? Do you list that? Do we say at least
Oh, right.
five, and just so they know it, I'm just,
I don't want to
No.
actually.
okay,
I
Just
feel
maybe
like
it'll
if we
be
say
more?
five, they're gonna come back with five.
five,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah,
Sure.
Number seven, plant remaining required street trees elsewhere on the site. Number eight, we recommend the use of structural soil or other best management practices to ensure longevity of the sidewalks, harmonious existence and coexistence of trees and sidewalks, ensure pedestrian safety, and decrease long-term maintenance. And I'll wordsmith this a little bit.
okay,
Consider the addition of landscaping in the patio area. And finally, consider implementation of larger tree pits along Haverford Avenue, potentially incorporating stormwater management, best management practices.
perfect.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I see.
Everyone seconds?
Yeah.
All the seconds.
Do I hear a motion? No, I mean.
Still
All in
motioning.
favor?
All in favor, yeah, aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. That's really important. It only took us an hour here, plus whatever time we spent on it before. Good work.
Okay, great.
Okay, we have more of an agenda.
Wait, plant was update, you already said a note about, I'm just gonna put something under here about plant. Because you said that Matt West reported to Rick that it's going to borough council.
He said it will be on the next agenda.
Okay,
All right, spring planting,
right,
lots of news.
yes.
We're doing pretty well. Remember that we took a different approach this time. Rather than trying to scramble and find an exact number of trees and where they're all gonna go, we ordered a total of 28 trees from PHS. Our order included 10 redbud, 3 serviceberry, 5 elms, 5 river birch, and 5 hawthorns. As of right this moment, we have remaining 2 redbuds, sort of, I'll come back to that. 0 serviceberry, 4 elms plus or minus, I'll come back to that. 1 river birch and 3 hawthorns-ish. The elms. One of our neighbors on the south side wants one. I think I have another neighbor on the south side convinced to take one. They haven't formally ordered it yet, Jamie and Rob,
Oh, right, you mentioned that.
who put up the book box. The property at North Narberth and Woodbine, Marty and Portia, who removed a giant tree recently, are going to replant it.
Oh, great.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you get in touch with them?
They they mistakenly tried to order a tree from Lower Merion
Oh,
months ago, and Lower Merion kicked them over to us, and conversation started from there.
oh, great.
I didn't ask them anything about why the big tree came
No,
down
the
once
why.
they were,
Yeah.
so we potentially have 2 elms left.
Okay.
If Jamie and Rob take one. Portia and Marty said they'll take one, but they haven't actually filled out the form.
Yeah, okay. And I meant to ask you when I saw you the other day about the guy who rebuilt the house on, Chestnut and, Essex. Have you talked to him lately?
Not lately, but
Cause I'm happy to talk to him if I see him.
I just got his email address again and was gonna shoot him an email and
Okay.
see if maybe he wanted the 2 elms.
That's what I was
'cause he's-
thinking too, that would be a good spot for him.
Yeah, or maybe 3 if
Yeah,
somebody doesn't actually come through.
Did you send me the link to the plant request list or the, plant order list? So I
I
can put it
think
up.
I think I sent it to everybody
Did
weeks ago, but
Oh, geez, I
Don't-
missed that one.
don't put it up now.
Oh, I did put it up then. Never mind. Never mind. I'm more on the ball than I know.
So as it stands then, we have like 1, 4, say 6, 8 trees left. However, 2 of them are redbuds. And how many of you know Linnea Sanderson? Linnea Sanderson went kind of off the board, and it's great, but we're gonna have to order more trees. Linnea, without realizing that we had pre-ordered and had a
Oh, you
limited
told us,
number,
yeah.
somehow did the work that we all have struggled with on her block and has convinced like 8 of her neighbors to plant a total of 14 trees on their block. This is Marion Ave, Chestnut, right?
Chestnut, yes,
Yeah.
yes, because
Yeah.
up from Sweeney's, yeah,
Chestnut between Essex
and,
Narberth
yeah.
on the south side. She wants 14 redbuds. So
In addition to those 10, or we just need 4 more? Or we need, how many more?
So if we have 2 still from PHS that I'm on the fence, like, do we try to find 2 more homes for those 2, or do we just put them in Linnea's?
Put them in Linnea's.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we need 12. We need to order 12 red buds.
Is it too late to try to get them from Chalet or Dana?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's too late to get them from PHS.
Even though you sometimes have a way of charming them into.
They limited the number of red buds and service berries that we were allowed to
Yeah, I'm
order.
not surprised.
So yeah, and we ordered the max. So I don't think they're gonna give us 12 more.
So you want me to go with the tree authority again?
Yeah, so as you know, we have to approve expenses. So let's
Yeah.
work backwards a little bit.
Yeah,
Planting day is April 20th. We have another Shade Tree Commission meeting early April.
but you can't get a check in the same month you asked for it.
So,
He's delivered, he was pretty accommodating before, so I'm not worried about,
For the borough office.
no,
Oh.
my tree person.
Oh, no, I'm talking about getting paid.
Right, I'm just
Oh.
saying that he would probably deliver the trees and then
Oh,
be paid
okay,
rather
yeah,
than
no.
getting it.
Get the check, got it.
Does he take cards there or?
I don't know, he doesn't.
Yeah.
so our other option is Sally quickly off the top of her head estimates what 12 red buds are gonna cost. Plus delivery, and maybe Sally 1.5 times whatever number she comes up with. And we vote to approve and not to exceed. whatever
Yeah, that's
that
the
number
simplest.
is.
And Sally, I thought we figured this out last year when we had to get those trees, because remember, well, after we just
I know,
about to say.
Yeah, she knows how much.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember what our delivery fee was.
Yeah,
Like
it was
150
based on-
something?
yeah.
It's based on mileage.
It was based on miles.
Yeah, it was cheap. I'm gonna say 150. So, a conservative estimate would be $750.
So should we say 1,000?
Yes.
To 1,000?
Yeah, I'm even inclined to say 1,500.
Yeah, that's a good idea, just in case.
Now, we're going to get, are these all for the front or are these all over?
Oh,
Like,
good
is she-
question.
I'm just curious, is she putting these all on this?
I think if you have to convince to plant them out front,
Okay.
then planting strips,
Okay,
which,
great.
you know, on one side, I would rather see bigger trees, but
Yeah.
these are neighbors that we have not gotten through to.
Right.
So if she gets them to
So
plant
this
red
is a
buds,
sport, okay.
it's a win in my book.
That's
Okay.
great.
Yeah,
Have you, Rick, have you asked her like, oh, this is also a really great tree, or she just has her mindset on?
she has already done all the legwork. So I did tell her, like, we have these and these available. She's ordered herself a river birch, probably for her backyard.
Okay,
She's getting all this.
She's got a very wet backyard too.
So she knows, I told her, like, push the elms, we have elms.
Yeah.
But I also told her, like, we'll get you the red ones.
Yeah,
okay, okay. And we're getting the same red buds, we're gonna get balls, not, bare root.
well, we'll have two
Just
from,
for the-
we'll have two from PHS.
Okay.
And then the
Just
rest.
it would be exorbitant if we got the root balls.
No, we're getting that comes.
I mean, yeah, we're getting root balls, not the bare,
Yeah.
and not to, or,
No, we'll have bare root from PHS.
Yes, that-
two of them,
And then the rest would be.
okay.
Yeah.
Just,
I'm gonna-
is there gonna be any, can we put those other two redwoods somewhere else, just so people, those two people on that block, and maybe I'm underestimating people's generosity, but is somebody gonna say, hey, how come their trees are so much bigger than mine? Oh, so we're all.
I feel like they're
Everybody
getting it
gets
for
it
free.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, okay, you're
Yeah.
right.
No, I'm going to come back.
But- So all of our red buds are going to that block, or can we put those two others somewhere else? So that everybody gets the same ones on that block?
Right now, we have 8 red buds going elsewhere throughout the borough.
Okay.
2 PHS red buds going to that block,
There are,
plus 10 more we're gonna order.
okay,
Now-
there will be, I can't imagine there's gonna be that much of a difference between what they get and what the 2 versus the other 12 are.
Well, I mean, they're 6 to 8 versus
Right,
3.
right.
There's a difference.
Was it that small?
They were,
Some of them were.
yeah,
Yeah, so to that point, I pulled up our invoice that we have to pay PHS.
Right,
It's $24.50.
okay,
We very frequently spend roughly $5,000 per tree planting. Because when we get trees from PHS,
Right.
we usually get about 50, they're usually about $100 each.
right,
It's not unusual for us to spend 5,000. So we could say, Sally, take $2,500 and get bigger trees within reason.
oh, that's not a bad idea.
I'll
So
see
that
what,
would
yeah,
look more
sure.
similar,
Why don't we,
All right, so if we authorize the not
25.
to exceed to tree authority, but I move we authorize payment to tree authority not to exceed $2,500.
yeah,
For the purchase of 10 redbud trees.
right,
I think we got them in they were basically like 5-gallon tree bags when we got them before, so maybe.
And I have a bunch of those in my shed.
I still
so-
have some in the back of my car from the last planting.
I still have this,
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Sally seconded,
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Excellent.
Okay, so did we approve the PHS invoice or that it did?
I don't know if we did or not, so I was also gonna suggest we go ahead and approve that now because
Okay,
PHS actually emailed the borough today saying, hey, you were supposed to pay this yesterday.
yeah,
Because I told Alan not to pay it right away in case we changed the order, so.
I make motion that we pay the existing invoice from PHS.
Dated 3/11/2024 in the total amount of $24.50. Did you make that motion or did I?
You did, I will second it, Carson seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Zero. Excellent.
Okay, proof additional order, oh, let's see, what's it? Proof gator bags.
Okay, Jeff, I'm glad you're here because we need to talk about gator beds. As I just spent all of our $5,000 for this tree planting.
Yeah, send more money.
Okay,
You know, your shade tree budget, you know, isn't just, mine, it's.
no one's ever said no, so I don't ever
Yeah.
really ask what the budget is.
Spend it, it's all good.
So we're gonna need 40 gator bags for this spring planting. And I think we may even owe some people from fall planting some bags as well. So I don't know what number you like to order them in, or if I don't think we have any left, I don't know.
I may have about 10 or 12 upstairs in the loft, so I'll take a peek on what we have.
And I'll, ask you to get us gator bags. Well, like I said, order them however, whatever quantity you want, but we need 40, we need 50 at least, I think.
Does it help you if we send you an email saying that? Do you need that for any kind of trail? Like, do you need to show that we formally asked you for that?
No.
Just checking, I just wanna be sure.
The borough, trust me, with spending money.
Okay,
I gotta do that.
okay, great. Okay, and how's everything else going? Do we still have our, founders and?
I think so.
Okay.
They came back
Sure,
in the
something.
fall, which
Did they?
is rare that they
Okay.
come back.
Okay,
At run wild, typically we have to hunt them down.
Okay.
And they came back.
okay, great.
Karen,
I made
tired of them living on my porch.
Yeah.
Any shade tree signage, tools, equipment, broke, what, it just dropped it off at our shop, and, I cleared there's a room upstairs that I have something aside for shade tree space.
Okay, great.
So if we move on to next steps.
Yeah.
I'm actually reminded now that last time around, Jim had to make some homemade signs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're out of signs.
Oh, okay. So,
You want me
Why
to
don't we
take
just
care of
order
that?
some more?
Yeah,
yeah.
anytime.
Do you want me to take care of that with our sign place?
If you can, sure.
Do you have the thing, the?
I'll just, if you can send me the picture, and then
Yeah.
I'll just bring her one of the signs that I have.
Oh, okay.
And say copy this,
Where is that stored? Is that in our Google Drive?
With the logo?
Yeah.
I mean, we all probably have it somewhere.
Yeah, we have, I don't know where it's stored, but we all didn't have it.
Okay, I'll pick it up and send it to Jeff. Carson will find logo and send to Jeff. And how many signs do we need? What did we get last time? We got like 70 or something, I think.
So, I mean, I know I probably have some in my basement or probably some in the garage. I know that there are still some out at planting sites, including mainline audiology. But if we keep planting 50 every time, you figure some nutrition every time. I guess, Jeff, find out the prices, and again, just like Gator bags, order in bulk, whatever makes sense, knowing that we aim for 50 trees every planting. I mean, I think if you're ordering them once, I'd say don't get fewer than 100.
Yeah.
But again, I'll leave it to you to figure out based on the bulk prices and all.
Okay.
All right.
And then in terms of delivering the signs, I guess we won't, today's March 12th. So I would say, I send the logo to Jeff right away. Let's say the sign printer person needs at least 2 weeks. So let's say we're talking about April 1. Is that too late to have the signs in place for the whole figures?
It's getting late, but I think for sign deliveries right now, we start with what we have.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask everybody to look in your basements and porches and backs of your cars. and see if
Too,
you
but
have
you know,
any.
Jeff,
The digging wasn't supposed to start until the 12th anyway.
that's right, you're right. So I think we're okay.
It's, the sooner the better for just visibility and getting the one calls done.
Yeah, exactly.
One calls too, but we'll do what we can do.
Yeah, okay. So,
So yes, everybody look for signs.
Yeah.
And if, you know what you can do, everybody look for signs. Let me know what you find, if anything. And like, if Sally, you tell me you have 2 signs, I'll look at the list and see who's close to you and ask you to deliver them. Sound okay?
yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, you guys wanna hear the list of who ordered?
And where?
Yeah. Spreadsheet.
There's
All
a
right.
chance I might have to be out of here at 8:30. Is
Oh.
there, what else do we have on the
Let me just
agenda?
see, volunteer outreach.
More calls.
Oh, P&R master plan, you're our liaison, and we usually do that update. Oh, and also Arbor Day, Tree
Yeah.
City update we need.
Yeah, why don't we skip down to those?
Let's get that to what Sally
Yeah.
has to tell us.
There's no updates for either. The meeting
Oh,
is, I couldn't make last week and last month because I had COVID, and the next meeting is tomorrow, so I'm going tomorrow.
Okay,
For the parks planning, and, we're just still waiting for, it takes them forever. They have so many people doing, to send stuff out. We applied, it's fine. So,
Arbor Day.
yeah, for Arbor Day stuff.
but we need to plan an event, though, that's
Yeah.
required.
A new
by-
one for Arbor Day. Oh,
Which is
yeah.
right before or after
Afterwards,
treatment.
right around tree planning.
I
You
put
know
it-
the date of our.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what day
It's
is?
the 26th of April, Friday, the 26th. So once again, we're planting Saturday, the 20th, 5 days later on Friday is Arbor Day,
Yeah,
or 6 days or whatever.
When do we do when is the Earth Day celebration that we have?
Earth Day this year is May 4th. And our birthday is May 4th. But Arbor Day, because we've got to get the mayor to say something, right? Is that
We
what's
do
required?
usually do that.
Yeah, they usually
Is
have
that
a
required?
proclamation. I can't remember if we have to do that every single time. I do know that when we do it at school, we have someone who speaks. And so I believe we're gonna have to have, now that I'm thinking it through, we're probably gonna have to have her say something. But I'll look into that.
Okay. So we need the mayor. Last year I wrote remarks for her instead of to her. Somebody else had to review them too, so I think we need to move on this so it doesn't get. We invited Borough Council to come. We put something in the email blast.
So we apply every year, so every year there's a ceremony.
Yeah. One of the requirements.
Sally, do we have, I think I've told you this before, one of the shade tree commissions I consulted for many, many years ago. I remember had like escalating requirements every few years.
Oh.
Yeah, that was, so I know we do that as a higher education one. I'm assuming that we're gonna have, but I don't know what they are yet. So
Okay.
that's what, it's usually, it takes a few years before you have to start upping your game, but.
Okay. Good. While we're talking about Arbor Day, do we have signs up yet or figured out where?
Oh, Tree City USA.
Yeah.
The sign's not up yet at the tunnel. We're kind of waiting for the project at Forest and Haverford to be done because we feel that street lamp that's right there is a perfect place to put the sign.
Oh,
Because that way, that's kind of right where the concerts are at. You know, kind of sees the most volume of foot traffic, I
that's a good
think.
idea.
But they just poured the sidewalks, I was trying to get away from. So once they heal a bit more, we'll get that sign up there. But we'll definitely have it up prior to your.
April 26th,
day.
yeah.
Great. Sally, do you have anything else you want to talk about or say?
I think we covered it. Is there, I don't wanna miss any more spring, or I'll stick around if we need me to, but I'm just sort of.
The other things are volunteer outreach, PA1 call, hole digging coordination. And that's all.
So Sally, for volunteer outreach, I was just gonna say, we're about 6 weeks out. I need to make the link and get the forms going again. And when I do that, I'll share with you to share out.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
And then now what we're looking at is that PA1 calls would be the link of. 13. Is that okay? That can work.
I will, between now and then, I'll have to look at the one call requirements again. I think it's 3 to 10 days before
Okay,
we want to start digging.
right.
And I mean, we'll talk to Jim again, see when he wants to dig and just work backwards from there.
Okay.
If we don't have signs, I mean, they can still mark lines and figure out where things are.
Oh,
It
okay.
just makes it easier if there's a sign and
Yeah.
then the one call guys read that note. And it makes it easier for them to say,
But it's not quite.
and I know Jackson Borough does part of it, but I guess it's the county contracts somebody to mark everything else. And they've been pretty good, like they call me when they have questions, so
Okay, good.
it's never turned into a major fiasco or anything.
Okay,
It's a very helpful, tool, that's out there. And Pico, Aqua, Comcast are all super quick. It's for Verizon that you usually have to drive.
okay.
Or Amtrak, if there's anything near Amtrak line, you might as well walk downtown and knock up.
Right.
See if they'll come back with it.
Okay. Okay, and then the whole digging coordination,
I'm gonna lean on Jim again, he says he still wants to do it. We'll see if he is buried in council stuff, but he
so
may
should
need it
we
even more.
communicate with him? Do you want me to write a little note just saying we were talking about you and thinking about you?
I'm sure he's gonna watch the recording.
Oh, got
100,000.
Yeah,
If you wanna drop him a line, Carson, and
it.
certainly.
No, I just
Doesn't
didn't
hurt.
know how else he would hear about it. I'm sure he's just feeling pretty much under the codes of stuff.
Yeah, he said before he wants to keep doing it, but it doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
confirm. I mean, too much communication is,
Right,
there's not too much communication, so go ahead if you'd like.
okay. Other expenses, so.
All right, I'll quickly run through the list of tree orderers. And again, the spreadsheet is like extensive and messy, so I don't go through every detail, but
I'm gonna take off for that
Okay.
part.
See about
thank you,
it.
Sally.
Thank you, Sally.
Sorry, I have to leave.
Ellie Herman, who owns the Pilates studio, is also our neighbor. She lives at the corner of the road and Woodside. We planted for her before. She's gonna get at least one more tree. Jen Nates across the street from us. This is the person, Jeff, that like a month ago, I copied you on an email. They have a big street tree that's dying, falling apart, and they have to remove it. And I felt like it was my duty to tell them to get a permit.
It's been tough with these tree companies, you know, we have a few in line that are very good about, you know, they'll call me, you know, because I have a spreadsheet of all of our, you know, it's a way,
Mhm.
you know, so I've sent that out to our different, you know, like common tree contractors and just use this, you know, if it falls, you know, beyond the 8 feet from the curb line, you don't need to, you know, just so. But there's just companies that I catch all over.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just,
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Stressing.
Jeff, who's good, well, off the top of your head, name one that, like, so I could recommend it.
Well, Shriner.
Schreiner's my go-to, but, as far as, you know, who I see in town the most, it's King Kiner.
Okay,
Um,
and they call you?
mhm.
Okay, Bartlett?
I haven't seen a lot of
I don't
there.
think they call
I see that empty tree a lot.
MG's been busy here.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Jim Hearn's been getting busier, you know, with some tree work here, which is good. It's primarily just been, King Kiner, MG.
There's one that's like TRB or TRG or 3 letters like that. and I think it's
TBG,
TBG.
because they just took down that disease maple on, what's that, Chestnut, on the, I think like 215 Chestnut was the address. It was like right beyond the power lines, 'cause I remember I was talking to him, and I said, you know, please alert Pico, because we're awfully close to, you know, high voltage lines. And then by the time I got there the next morning, the tree was down, just like, I tried.
Well, whoever they're using at this corner of Woodside and, Wynwood, they're delayed because of Pico. So whoever they're
Oh.
using seems to be doing it the right way at least. I tried to frame it positively that like, you know, the borough just needs to know because it's a terrible intersection. And if you got a closed block of the street, you need to know. But we'll see what happens, but they're gonna plant something.
Do you know Green Avenue, 2 really big trees, did anybody get in touch with you?
But they were in the yard, right?
No, well, they weren't, no, they were front yard, like they were 10 feet off the street.
Nah,
Probably enough to,
Okay.
that means that's enough that it's a private thing, that wouldn't need to get a permit.
Okay, just because they weren't in that little curb space, I mean.
No, it's, what is it from the center of the street, isn't it?
so each road, you know.
Oh, I see, got it, okay, that makes sense.
I'll find it, but I'll pull up the spreadsheets for tree.
So I'll keep going with
Yeah,
this list real quick. Carrie Spilecki at 15 Shirley Road. Lisa Gambino is the corner of North Essex and Sabine.
Oh, good, well, they did apples, is it another apple tree? What
We
is-
don't have apples.
Oh, good, that's right, so what are they,
Yeah, that's nice, that's been a nice
and they need big trees,
addition, yeah.
they need a big tree,
It looks like they want to plant near the sidewalk or curb at least.
okay.
No wires, they've asked for a red bud.
Ah,
And full sun, I mean, red buds will get to a decent size, but
so on Sabine, or
I don't know.
did they say on the Sabine side? Okay.
Windsor Arms,
Well, that's feet. So the road is
Yeah.
23 foot wide, we maintain an 11 foot right of way on each side.
So maybe they just outside, I mean, okay.
Yeah,
Windsor Arms is gonna get another tree. I found out the story, I don't know if anybody has noticed, we planted a Kentucky coffee tree for them many years ago, and I walked by it a few months ago and saw it was basically cut in half.
Oh,
They said it got struck by lightning, and that's why they had to prune it, and now it's like half a tree. I think they're gonna remove it, and they're gonna plant something else, they voted from us. Dennis wants another, I didn't mean to point at you, I should, would have pointed at Sally, she's gone. But Dennis from Park and Rec, who's also involved at Narbrook Park, wants another tree over there. Our neighbor Robin Curry, who lives on
Oh, yeah.
South Narbor and again,
Chestnut.
Chestnut, is gonna get, an elm.
I
And
thought she was in
three
Monet.
service berries.
Okay.
And I think she's getting something from Linnea too.
Okay, great.
Marjorie on Iona Avenue is gonna get a couple more. And then Linnea's crew.
Okay,
So that's what's on the list.
okay, good.
Like I said, we got a handful of trees still available, so. Service berries are sold out, red buds should be considered sold out now, but. Elms, hawthorns, and I think one river birch. If any of us want a river birch, claim it. You want a river birch?
Yeah, I'll put it in our rain garden out back here
You know,
at the library.
I've been meaning to ask you if any of the street rain gardens can take trees, if you know. I mean, it doesn't look like there's a lot of soil in them, but.
Yeah, there's not too much, I mean, yeah, I think someone asked Eric that, and I think his quick answer was no. But I think, you know, with a little bit of homework, you know, for tree selection, you know, one would do okay.
All right. Eric is the borough engineer?
Yeah, Eric Johnson.
All right, well, river birch are now sold out. Red bud are now sold out, so we're down to just elms and hawthorns.
Okay.
And I've been trying to revise the order form every time something sells out to take it out of there, but.
Oh, right, yeah, we talked about that being a frustration, yet another frustration of Google Sheets.
Yeah, that's okay. We haven't, besides Linnea's group, we haven't had a crush of orders, so.
Okay.
All right, the only other thing that's on the agenda that was not talked about at all is the website.
Yeah,
I assume we don't have any updates or anything about that.
so, we're gonna, we wanna move to end the meeting or adjourn the meeting?
I think you just did.
Okay, so I move to
Second it.
adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So 8:40.
All right, thanks, everyone, good meeting.
Oh,
Here we go.
and seconded.